The following program was paid for by Templar Real Estate. The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of the staff and management of WMTR. As always, it is advisable to consult a professional before making a major decision. It's time now for the Templar Real Estate Talk Show. Here's your host for the program, Joseph J. Zoppi.
Hi, my name is Joseph J. Zoppi, real estate investor, consumer advocate, author, and managing partner of Templar Real Estate Enterprises, and soon to be president of Templar Giving Hands, a nonprofit group that helps people in need, including inner city youth, the elderly, and their financial needs, especially around housing and food, single moms, and those individuals that were formerly in the sex trade. This is probably one of the most important things to Templar is our nonprofit organization that we're building out. We're going to be donating 10% of all profits to this company. You know, we see so much need for this, especially in the area between the demographics 55 on up. There are individuals that you don't realize what they're going through, but we do, because we come into these situations. We're going to buy their house and we can see the financial distress they're under. We had one situation that just occurred where a woman called in and said that she was going to lose her house within 3 days. So we jumped right on it. She had a tax sale due of approximately $109,000. Now, we had that money for it, but of course we had to do our due diligence. We picked her up. She wasn't staying at a boarding house, a one-room boarding house where she was living. She had previously been sick for 2 years, and she left her residence, and she's staying at this boarding house now. So we went over to the boarding house. It was broken into 2 other times before that, so we had contacted the police to take a look at it and make sure that there's no squatters in there. They came, but they said they couldn't enter the property, and that was because they were concerned about the structure and whether it was sound. So they did a walk around, and then we went in anyway. We looked around, and the place was falling apart over 2 years of no heat, no electricity, but we had a good sense of what needed to be done. We get these types of situations all the time, and one of the sad things was that in talking to her, she said that she gets Meals on Wheels, and it's 2 meals a day she gets, and a lot of times she's hungry. So I said, okay, when I drove her there, I said, let's go. We're going to stop off at the ShopRite and let's pick up some food for you. And she was astonished. She goes, Joe, you don't need to do that. And I said, no, this is kind of important to us. And we see this all the time of these situations that you wouldn't believe. You don't think it happens as often as it does. So I went shopping for her. We got some hot meals. But unfortunately, I couldn't do too much shopping because she said she had a small refrigerator, and the group refrigerator, everybody takes their food. So we did the best we could. She was ecstatic, and we're working through the situation right now to hopefully buy her house. She has not only the tax lien, but she had another $100,000 of other liens from the state of New Jersey, as well as some other things. So we're working with her. We're going to try to chew down those liens and then be able to purchase her house, and then she could have some money. So we encounter this a lot, and I'm very grateful that Templar can help individuals like this out. The entire staff that's our goal, is to help people out. We also sell houses directly through the MLS, and we have agents that do that, and we're very good at that. But one of the things that we're really strong at is helping these situations that are very tricky most people can't do that. Another thing that we do is we take individuals' money and we'll invest it in different properties, and they'll get a good rate of return, which is good in these days, because right now we have the stock market, hitting all-time highs again, and eventually it's going to pull back. And as you get older, the unfortunate thing is that there's not too many places to invest your money except in the stock market the way it is. You have low interest rates, so the CDs or anything else like that is hardly getting any rate of return, and that's a bad situation. So we have a number of individuals that are in their 50s, 60s, 70s that have invested with us, and they're in semi-conservative type investments that are backed by real estate, and they get a guaranteed rate of return. We had one situation where a woman, she was 65. She invested $60,000. She gave it to a financial advisor. In 3 months, she had lost 20% of her investment because it was invested in an aggressive real estate stock fund. And at that time, you're not supposed to be investing a individual's funds in something aggressive when you're 65 years old. It needs to be conservative. So we took the money over, and now she's getting a good rate of return. Unfortunately, she had to lose that 20%. So we see that all the time, and it just incenses me that these types of things happen. It happens more often than you realize. And that's why we're here, is to educate people and give them real life experiences of what we go through and the things that you should be looking for. What I'd like to do in the next segment is talk about buying houses for cash, as we do, selling houses, and investing in real estate. Thank you.
Life can be a roller coaster, and sometimes you need to sell your house fast. That's why there's TemplarBuysHouses.com. Maybe you're downsizing, getting a divorce, having health or financial issues. If so, head to TemplarBuysHouses.com. TEMPLAR BuysHouses.com. TemplarBuysHouses.com will buy your house quickly and without hassle. If you've inherited a house that is vacant, contact TemplarBuysHouses.com. Dealing with them is easy and quick. No high-pressure sales tactics, and you won't have to fix up the house. They will buy your house as is. You pick the closing date and when you move out. No commissions and no hassles. You are given a price, and that is the price you get. Plus, they don't need to qualify for loans because they buy with cash. Contact TemplarBuysHouses.com. TEMPLAR BuysHouses.com with an A rating from the Better Business Bureau. Call 973-315-7990. That's 973-315-7990.
Hi, welcome back. Again, this is Joseph J. Zoppi, Managing Partner at Templar Real Estate Enterprises. I want to go over a couple of things first. We're currently listing a property. It's 59 Crestmont Road in West Orange. It's a beautiful split level, 4-bedroom, 2-bath. Jump right onto Zillow. You could pull it up. Again, that's 59 Crestmont Road in West Orange. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. It's going for $455,000. There's a lot of upgrades. I think you look at it, if you're interested in that area, I think that's a house to really look at and consider. Like I said before, we do list properties. We do sell properties the traditional way. What I'd like to go over right now is the different means of selling your house. One is obviously the traditional way, and there's pros and cons to that. And there's also means of selling your house for cash, and that's what we do. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we do it and some of the pitfalls you have to watch out for. So normally we'll receive a call. We'll talk to the individual that's interested in selling the house and just give us some general information, the size of the house, number of bedrooms, number of baths, where it's located. And that's about it. And then we'll come out, look at the house, and then we'll present an offer. It's pretty easy. One of the positive things about this is that you don't have to worry about anything that's currently broken, anything that's not cleaned up. All this is taken care of by us. And that's a good thing, because there's, so much angst in selling a house, and all this is taken away. You don't have to worry about if there's a lien on the house. You don't have to worry if there's water in the basement or anything. We'll look at it, and we look at it with open eyes. One of the things that we are very careful with is being discreet. A number of individuals that sell their house this way, they really don't want to be publicizing it, and they don't want the neighbors to know. We're very sensitive to that. We're very sensitive to a lot of these situations, because a lot of them, again, are sometimes financial distress situations. Not all, but a lot of times. There's situations where we get calls from the siblings, and we'll say, my parents' house is a hoarder's house, or there's, tons of junk in it, and, they feel very ashamed. And for us, we don't judge. We really don't. And there's a reason why this is happening, and we're very sensitive to that. A lot of times we've seen that individuals that have so-called hoarder houses have had a loved one that was lost, and because of that, they react this way. So there's usually a reason. No one grows up and says, "I want to be a hoarder." It happens over time, and sometimes it is mental illness, sometimes it's other things, but we're very, very sensitive to that. And I see the people that are always apologetic about it, and that's not something that needs to occur with us. We will work through the situation. Even with the hoarder's house, just leave the stuff as is. And a lot of times there's also some potential health problems that could occur as a result of a situation like that, with mold, things like that. And we take care of all that. We have one situation right now where the woman's a widower, and she said, "Joe, I got to get rid of this house. I put $50,000, I gave it to a contractor. He did maybe a quarter of the work, didn't file for permits, and he took the rest of the money." And she says, "I got to get out of this. And I have a special needs son, and we just need to get out." And I came over there, and I was walking around. I tried to get into the basement, and then I realized there was 2.5 feet of water in the basement, so I couldn't walk around too much down there. And then as a result of that, the furnace wasn't working, the sump pumps weren't working, the water heater wasn't working, but we talked it over, and now we're in the process of her moving out, and now we have the task to fix it. So no job is too small or too big for us when it comes to things like that. Foreclosures, it really doesn't matter. The more time we have, obviously, the better it is. Unfortunately, sometimes we have situations where it's just too tight. There might be 1 day or 2 days. Sometimes we can work our magic, but sometimes just we can't get the information together quick enough. Another thing that we do is we, as I said before, take individuals' money from a 401k, IRA, or cash they have on hand, and then we'll purchase real estate with that, and then they'll get a monthly rate of return on that. And usually what we do is we, based on the loan, we'll keep the principal as is and we'll just pay the interest. And they'll get a nice return every month. And that works really well. And we have a lot of clients that really like that model. You know, one of the things that we're going to go over in this show on future programs is the pros and cons of all these different scenarios. You know, one of the things that I also want to tell you is about cash buyers. So I'm a very passionate individual. I'm Italian at heart, and I'm very passionate. And I'm very passionate when I see people getting hurt and misled. And that's one of our foundations is we're very upfront with everyone. And if we can't work with them, we can't work with them, and we'll tell them, whatever the situation may be. But sometimes, I've seen recently, and I didn't see it before this, is that there's individuals that put out contracts to buy their house, and there's no clause in there for attorney review. So we had one situation where someone had signed the agreement and they can't get out of it. We're looking into it and we're seeing a few ways that we can get out of it, but it's going to be a little costly. But I haven't seen that in the past, and now I'm seeing that past couple of times. And that's really jamming these individuals up in terms of what they can do and what they can't do. The specific individual doesn't have much money, and he's worried about his oil, not having enough oil in his tank to heat the house, as well as electricity. So we're working closely with them, and we're going to see what we can do to get him out of this bad situation. Like I said, I haven't seen it before, and it blows my mind that someone in any type of conscience would do something like that. You know, when we're helping all these individuals out, we look at it as, you know, this is their life, and we could impact their life negatively or positively. And that's a big responsibility on our side, a very big responsibility. You know, you're dealing with someone's life and the money for them to survive. So, you know, I could sleep at night because I know I'm doing the right thing. And I've said before that, but other individuals that sometimes do these things they shouldn't do, unfortunately, they sleep just as well. But for us, it's very important. Thank you very much.
Life can be a roller coaster, and sometimes you need to sell your house fast. That's why there's TemplarBuysHouses.com. Maybe you're downsizing, getting a divorce, having health or financial issues. If so, head to TemplarBuysHouses.com. TEMPLAR BuysHouses.com. TemplarBuysHouses.com will buy your house quickly and without hassle. If you've inherited a house that is vacant, contact TemplarBuysHouses.com. Dealing with them is easy and quick. No high-pressure sales tactics, and you won't have to fix up the house. They will buy your house as is. You pick the closing date and when you move out. No commissions and no hassles. You are given a price, and that is the price you get. Plus, they don't need to qualify for loans because they buy with cash. Contact TemplarBuysHouses.com. TEMPLAR BuysHouses.com with an A rating from the Better Business Bureau. Call 973-315-7990. That's 973-315-7990.
Welcome back. Again, this is Joseph J. Zoppi, Managing Partner at Templar Real Estate Enterprises. Our number is 973-240-8593. Our website is Templar Buys Houses for Cash, and you could get us there anytime. You could leave an email for us, any questions you have, and either I'll answer them on the air or I'll send you an email in response. A couple of other things that we're going to be going through in future broadcasts to do with different individuals that I work with, attorneys, title agencies, inspectors, and I'll be interviewing them, and hopefully you get some information out of that to help you either sell a house, buy a house, or invest in real estate. Also, I'd like to cover some news that's directly impacting real estate. So the Federal Open Market Committee approved a 0.25% cut from 1.5% to 1.7% for the Fed rate fund. So obviously this will impact mortgage rates. So it's 0.25 point. It's still going to impact it. Fed Chief Jerome Powell said during a press conference that the job market remains strong, inflation remains subdued, and the economy continues to grow at a moderate pace, although manufacturing has been slowing down. One of the things that I'm seeing is that, and the concern I have is as it's approaching, these interest rates are going lower and lower. So as a result of that, eventually, if we do hit a recession, we could eventually go into negative interest rates. Yes, negative interest rates. When you're in school, I think if you put a negative interest rate on something, you probably get -5 points for it. But those individuals that are wiser than me have been doing that in Europe, and right now they have negative interest rates. So when you're putting money in the bank, you basically have to pay them to keep the money in the bank. And the reason for this is that everybody will invest in the stock market. That's how it's done. And when we had the downturn in 2009, this was one of the reasons why they kept decreasing the interest rate, to really push the money into stocks to try to push the economy and start the economy up. Now, the unfortunate thing about this is that, again, when you're 55 and over, you want to be in conservative type assets. And this just exasperates a situation that could really hurt people because they want a rate of return. They can't put their money in the stock market. If they do, who knows where it's going to go. I had one situation where gentlemen we're buying a house from, he said exactly that. He said, yeah, my 401k is up 2,000, it's down thousands, it's all over the place, but he has nowhere else to put it, which is, very concerning. And there's probably no end in sight in terms of this approach. It's been going on for a lot of years in Europe and even over here. And right now we're topping out from the economy perspective. We still have maybe another few years where it could still be good. Nobody knows. But, where the stock market is, where interest rates are, it's a precarious situation. There's also another commission which looked at brokers' rates for real estate. And they had a survey, and it said that out of 263 brokerages, 99% that were surveyed do not publicly list their commissions. So we don't list our commissions, but we tell you straight up. We usually do almost always 5%. That's the way it is. In certain situations, it is 6%. But that's not too many situations. We're very upfront with that. This survey said that the rates were not stated on the phone, but once the individual came to the house, looked over the house, then the rates were stated. We don't believe in that. I don't like doing that, and we don't do that. It's that simple. One of the things that's very important to me is safety from an investment perspective. I'll be going over with you different safe type assets in real estate. so you understand what it is. You'll understand how to overall evaluate if someone's coming with you and says, I have a deal here, and you're going to get a rate of return. So I'm hoping that through this radio show, you'll be able to learn some of these things and invest wisely. You know, the other thing is that, like a good attorney, you know, sometimes good attorneys are hard to find, as well as financial advisors. We're here to help and give some advice which will hopefully help everyone involved. If you have any questions, you could always call us. And if you don't get anyone, one of our staff members will take a message and we will get back to you. We expect to go over a lot of different things on this show. Everything from the news going on for a given week in terms of interest rates, the market trends, and where things are going. Right now I belong to what's called a mastermind. It's a group of individuals throughout the country, 150 real estate investors that get together on a quarterly basis, and we talk about different trends. So what's happening in Las Vegas as opposed to New York, as opposed to Jersey. And we pull this information together to see where things are going. And it's very enlightening because what something will happen in San Francisco might eventually happen over here. There was a pullback for New York City of about 0.4% decrease in housing sales in terms of their price over the last, I think, quarter. Las Vegas also had a flattening. Phoenix had a small increase. But what we're seeing is that the market is topping out right now. And certain communities are seeing that. In Jersey, one is Maplewood. There's a lot of houses for sale in Maplewood and also in Springfield. I had a woman call me last week, said she's interested in selling her house. And she says, and I spoke to her about it. I said, you have a lot of houses on the market right now. She says, yeah, right now you're absolutely right. She says, I have a 6-month contract with a broker. So I got to finish that out, but I want to sell my house for cash. But I know there's a lot of houses on the market. And, you know, as a result of that, you know, we have to look at it and see where it is in another 4 or 5 months. So I can't buy everything. We don't buy everything. But this is, you know, certain areas where we're concerned is where the market is. We might see a pullback of, you know, 5%. It's not going to be like in the past, but still, we have to be cognizant of what's going on. So I'd like to thank everyone, and I hope you had got some information out of here, and you're going to listen to us next week. Thank you very much. Again, for more information, you could call us at 973-240-8593. That's Templar Buys Houses for Cash. You call us 6 days a week, and usually even on Sundays we pick up. So we work long hours because these types of situations are not a 8 to 4 or 9 to 5 type thing. There's situations going on and individuals can't always talk. So we're always available. Thank you very much again. Bye.
The preceding program was paid for by Templar Real Estate. The views and opinions expressed are not necessarily